Hey, so today I'm going to be playing as Vamana on Conquest. So I'm going to be talking a bit about playing Vamana on the solo lane, but mainly today's video is going to be about mentality. So you may have seen from the thumbnail, I've got a photo of like a scenery, like a calm blue scenery. And the idea is staying calm to win games. So with Conquest, you have to stay calm because there's a lot of factors. You have four teammates and five enemies, so there's a lot of things that aren't in your control. Whereas in a duel, it's a 1v1. In arena, it's a lot more, playful. But this is actually a ranked game of Conquest, so being calm is way more important. I'm gonna go over my game and talk about what kind of things may interrupt someone's focus. So let's say dying, or your teammates dying, or your teammates not ganking the way you wanted. So the first things first is you need to have a game plan. So how do you want the game to start and how do you want the game to finish? That kind of comes with experience. So the more games that you play in a different role and with a certain god, the more you'll know how you want a game to start, how you want it to finish, and the journey. So it's always having a game plan. So the next thing you want to know is if things go wrong, how do you change from that game plan? So with Amana, I know that once I get my boots and my frostbound, I'll have a massive power spike, and that will help me with my kill potential. I can kill people a lot more easily with that massive power spike. So my first game plan is just to get those two items, then I can start fighting. Until then, I won't fight unless I know I can get a kill or I can help someone get a kill. Until I can get Frostbound, I won't try and go for any kills unless they're put on a plate, literally. If my teammates are in danger, I'll only save them if it's safe for me to save them. If I put myself in danger to save someone, I won't do it, even though I am the solo laner. Another thing you want to do is you always want to rely on yourself and not your teammates. So if there's a team fight breaking out and you don't want to be a part of it, then tell your team to retreat. So on console, that would be O1 circle circle. You can say retreat. And if they fight without you, then that's their fault. The only time you really want to fight is if you're comfortable that you can actually win a team fight and go away without dying, or you get more kills than them. Or if you're trying to defend an objective like Fire Giant, Gold Fury, the Phoenix. Those are the only two times you want to fight. In every other scenario, you want to avoid fighting. Don't fight just because your teammates wanted to fight. So here, I focused on the wave rather than ganking this Odin. So my Pele went to gank early. I actually wasn't expecting that, to be fair. My focus was just on getting the wave. So when she came, I wasn't that prepared. But that's fine. We managed to kill him anyway with our horrific. So solo lane and support are two of the most peaceful roles, I think. Because in a solo lane, you literally just farm on your own lane until you get the tower and you're comfortable rotating. So you only rotate once you get the wave and you're buff. So solo lane is literally the most peaceful role. I guess this is why Final K loves it so much. And I learned a lot from him, so I actually recommend checking his channel out. Fine, okay. But yeah, anyway, back to me. So, like I mentioned before, I'm not going to fight unless it's an easy kill or it benefits me. I have like very little kill potential early on because my kit's alright, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. You want to focus on building defense, health, movement speed. You don't really want to focus on, being a high damage dealing god early on. So just a bit about the solo lane. One thing about the solo lane is I'm going to talk a bit about the junglers and the junglers rotating. So in the solo lane, you should always ward the left lane, and you should always keep an eye out on your map to see where the enemy jungler and the enemy support is. The reason why I say that is because if the enemy jungler and the enemy support out-rotates your enemy jungle and your enemy support, and they're in your lane a lot, all you have to do is not die. So if they rotate and they don't get a kill here. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just gonna let you guys focus on this fight. So it's the 2v2 versus me and the Pele versus the Nemesis and the Odin. The Odin is focusing on the wave. Unfortunately, my Pele died, which sucks. But here, I feel like I can kill the Nemesis. I use my horrific, slows her attack speed and slows her movement speed, and I managed to get a kill. That was really bad by the Odin to not rotate there, but whatever. Anyway, back to rotations. If the enemy jungler rotates to your lane and you can survive, then that's massive for your team, because they just wasted time trying to gank you. They wasted time where they could have been clearing a buff or ganking the mid lane or ganking the dual lane. If they gank the mid lane and the mid lane has to back off, then that means they get the pressure in the mid lane, which is great. However, if they gank the solo lane and I back off, then it doesn't really mean much. Best case scenario, they get my blue, but whatever. So if your jungler doesn't gank your lane, but the enemy jungler does, see that as a good thing, see that as a positive. All you have to do is just not die. And if you're struggling, just get wards. So the enemy jungler rotating to your lane more, then your jungler is actually a good thing, because it means your jungler is out there farming, they're out there ganking the mid lane and the carry lane, hopefully. Well, that's if they're any good. If they're not doing that, still try not to be upset. So in high levels of play, when their enemy jungler ganks or their support ganks, then what your team should be doing is be going for the Gold Fury, simply because you have more pressure in that side of the map. So since it's still really early on in the season, my team might not necessarily do that. Luckily, the Nemesis we've only spotted the Nemesis once this side of the map, and that was when she was going for the blue. And my Pele's actually ganked twice this lane. But say if the Nemesis did gank more often, then what you'd hope is you or the ping that the enemy jungler is in the left lane, and you could ping attack Gold Fury, and hopefully your team would go get it, since there's more people on that side of the map.
Please excuse me.
At the end of the day, in a game of Conquest, the only thing you can focus is yourself. So yeah, you can get mad at your teammates, that's fine, but that doesn't really do anything for you. You can't force people to play how you want them to play. So if somebody, doesn't gank your lane and you wanted them to, well, there's not much you can do about it. You can type in the chat, you can argue with them, but at the end of the day, the only thing you can truly change is yourself. And if you just focus on playing better yourself, learning from every game, then eventually you will reach the higher divisions. So when you're in the lower ranks, in bronze to low plat, you want to always be learning. So you want to play a game, and if you're serious about climbing the ranks, then you want to play a game and think, okay, what can I do better next time? And if you're really struggling to think, of what you can do better, then at that point it would be a case of watching videos of professional like Final K or Incon or Sam the Dude, and seeing how they play and seeing what you can learn from them and trying to add it to your game. And also, if you're really stuck, it is a case of trying new things. So perhaps jungler invading, rotating more often, being more aggressive, or even sitting back more. So it's all about learning, trying out new things, and if you play the same game over and over again, the same game tactic, then you can only get so far. You want to learn from each game. For example, that death just then, I tried to tower dive an Odin, which is obviously quite bad, but I wanted to see if I could get away with it. And I didn't, because the Nemesis came. And next time I know better to tower dive an Odin whilst he has his ult and whilst the Nemesis is there. So I look like a noob on YouTube, but that's fine. I managed to get a blue buff in this case, but yeah, I've learned that now. Even though I'm 4 stars with Vamana, I'm always still learning, and that will help me, if I want to play like Hades on the solo lane, that will help me learn off the tower dive and Odin whilst he still has his ult. Right, so back to the whole being calm thing. Yeah, just try not to let like deaths or losing the objectives or anything, you know, get to you or frustrate you. Simply because your decision making, you'll be a lot more rash. You know, that leads to other bad thoughts, and you lead to blaming your teammates more, which will lead to more frustration. It just steamrolls. So you know, it's a lot easier said than done. You know, try not to get angry. But let's say if you lose the game and you're really annoyed, then you literally just need to perhaps take a break from the game. You know, just if you're really angry, then just go for a walk or listen to some music, just try and relax. But you're a lot more likely to lose if you're angry or if you're not in the right mind frame. Also, if you're distracted in general, then you're a lot more likely to lose. The best mind frame is to have a clear head, stay focused on your game plan, and stay focused on trying to win the game. Another good thing to do is not set expectation for teammates, especially if they're a randomer. So let's say my Pele came over to the solo lane and she stood behind one of the walls waiting to gank. Let's say she stood there for like a few seconds and she never ganked. Well, beforehand, while she's waiting behind the wall, I won't expect her to just gank. So even though that's what it looks like she's going to do, I'm not going to charge in head first and fight the Odin. Because she might turn around and be like, oh, actually, I want to focus on getting the camps or getting ganked to the mid lane. So even though she was waiting behind a wall, you know, you would play off as if you still play it safe. You still keep the option of her not ganking in your mind. So you know, you wouldn't dash into the Odin and use just 3 straight away. Simply because if you do that, you're really vulnerable and you won't be able to escape. Also, let's say if she does stand behind the wall and she does decide to gank, and you dash in and you use your 3, which is a bit reckless, then what could happen is the Nemesis comes and they both, you know, burst you down because they have too much damage early game, and then they kill your Pele. So in a scenario where the Pele is waiting behind the wall, I wouldn't use my 1 because that's my only form of escape. I might use my 3, but I'll try and use it on him and the wave because that's the most important thing early game, clearing the wave. I would use my 2 on the wave too, and I would save my 1 only to secure a kill. That's the only chance I would use it, to secure a kill, because that way if I can secure a kill and the Pele still has decent health, even if the Nemesis ganked, we both have enough HP to kill her. So you would want to save your dash. That goes for most gods too, like Hades. You would want to save your Hades dash, and you save for Chonga, you want to save your 2. Simply because those are your only forms of escape. So right there, I used my ult to kill the Odin. I was quite comfortable that I would have killed him anyway, but the fact that the Pele came into the tower with me and done a lot of damage helped out a lot. So it was quite good that she helped out, but if she didn't, I was gonna get the kill anyway, so that's fine. Also, if you notice, the Ymir has ganked, I think, twice on my lane. I haven't kept count, but it seems as though he ganked twice, and our Bologna has only ganked once, I think. So I'm not like at all fussed on our Bologna, simply because I didn't set that expectation of her ganking my lane. You know, I'm not expecting her to gank my lane more than the Ymir. I'm just focusing on my own game, and that's fine. Sometimes, if let's say the jungler and the Ymir are constantly focusing, let's say that like the jungler, the support, and the mid are constantly focusing on ganking your lane, they're just going to lose a lot of farm. So even though on the stats it'll say that you've done bad and you might be a bit less in farm, overall your team's going to do a lot better because your team should be able to outfarm them because they'll get more camps and more of the minion waves, the lane minions. There is no need. So even though it looks like you're doing bad, you're still more likely to win because you're getting farm. So the mentality of each role is way different. So the mentality of the solo lane and the jungler is almost like day and night, because with the jungler you need to constantly gank, And I'll have to talk about those separately. Today's video is just about Vamana, who's a super safe guard on the solo lane. I'll have to talk about the mentality of a jungler in a different game. I'm a one-star Arachne, and I'd say I'm okay as jungle, even though I'm not a big fan of playing it. So yeah, the mentality of a jungler is way different. So you may have noticed that I've hardly rotated this game. That's simply because I trust my team to get kills, and we're 28 to 10, so they're absolutely destroying them all across the map. As long as I keep the Odin here and I can get my own farm, that's okay. If I can get to late game, then I'll absolutely be unstoppable. Simply because you may won't be able to stop me, the Odin also won't be able to stop me. Nemesis is great against me, but they're heavily reliant on the Nemesis. So I've decided not to gank for this game. But in another game, say if I'm playing Hades, I might decide that I want to gank the mid lane, or you know, rotate a lot more often to apply more pressure. So to summarize what we went over this game, first things first is always stay calm and keep a clear head. Secondly, always be willing to learn. And the third thing is don't rely on other people, focus on your own game and winning the game for yourself. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you take care. Bye.